A very good Thursday afternoon to you, and welcome to Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. I'm your midday host, Julie Grant. It's great to have you along with us. Got a jam-packed show for you, starting with day number 4 of jury selection in the case of the 3 men accused of murdering jogger Ahmaud Arbery. The defendants are Travis and Gregory McMichael, son and father, along with their friend, William Roddy Bryant. They're facing a whole host of state charges and federal charges as well in a separate case, all stemming from the same incident. Now, earlier this morning, the state heard several the court heard several motions in the trial ahead of jury selection, which over the last few days has been a really tedious process, as we've seen. Still, nobody is seated to sit and hear this case. That is the bottom line. Let's get you an update on everything that's been happening on this case from Court TV. Legal correspondent Chanley Painter. She's reporting live for us in Brunswick, Georgia. Chanley, good afternoon to you.
Hey, good afternoon, Julie. A lot of energy still on day 4 outside the courthouse for jury selection, and some even inside that courtroom for the 4th panel of prospective jurors to be voir dired, questioned as a group, questioned individually. But let's start outside of this courthouse, because when the family of Ahmaud Arbery arrived, particularly his father, Marcus, this is what happened. Let's watch. Oh, we may not have that. Well, there was a lot of chanting for Marcus as he walked up the sidewalk behind me. The demonstrators from the Transformative Justice Coalition gathered, really swarming him, Julie, saying, go, Marcus, encouraging him for another day inside this courtroom, which has proven to seem difficult for him to sit there and with the 3 men accused of murdering his son.
Oh, I'm sure, definitely. Chanley, what else is jumping out at you today in terms of the questions and what you're seeing in those poll reporter notes that are being sent in? What should the public be aware of through this process, please?
Certainly. So there have been some things jumping out. When they question these jurors as a group, there's about 20 prospective jurors in a larger room, and they're able to raise their hand to certain questions. These are generally the same questions every day for each panel from both the prosecution and the defense. But here's what this new panel brought to light earlier. If we want to look at some of the numbers, the most so far this week raised their hands as saying, yes, they do own firearms and guns. It were 14 of the 20 who say we own guns, and about 10 said that they had been victims of a crime. That's a higher number than usual here, either burglary or home invasion. 5, this was interesting to me, Julie, actually, once they received this jury summons, went online to look at the case documents here in against the McMichaels and Roddy Bryant. And then also, about 9 of the 20 agree that police do not treat white and black people equally here. That's been a consistent question. So that gives us an idea of the potential jurors today. Now, they are individually questioning them right now. And so we're sorting through a lot of the pool notes because our cameras and audio are not allowed during that private questioning. But I'm reading through some of the notes, and what stood out to me so far, we'll get into more detail later in your show, but Robert Rubin, one of Travis McMichael's attorney, is objecting to the prosecution using the term victim when asking questions of these prospective jurors, calling Ahmaud Arbery a victim here. He took issue with that, objected to the court. So the prosecution has rephrased. She's calling Ahmaud by his name, Ahmaud, and we know that's a pending motion before this court, and the judge has yet to make a ruling as to whether during the trial, if the prosecution can refer to him as a victim.
Oh, that's interesting, Chanley. Wow. I know you've been keeping track of the motions that are still outstanding that the court has yet to rule on, and I thought maybe it's a good time to kind of remind all of our viewers of what those are. Tell me that license plate with the Confederate flag on it, you know, the plate that belongs to Travis McMichael. We know the defense wants it out, the state wants it in. Is that one still hanging in the balance?
It is still hanging in the balance. And interesting, though, Julie, the defense keeps asking prospective jurors in general voir dire each morning whether or not they believe that the former flag of the state of Georgia up until the early 2000s would they consider that a racist symbol? And sometimes hands go up, sometimes they don't. But we know based on this motion in limine that the defense wants to keep out the fact that Travis McMichael on the front of his white truck had a vanity plate with depicting that former flag, the rebel flag on there. And they want to prevent any jurors from making any inferences as to the meaning as to why he would put that on his truck and whether or not Ahmaud Arbery noticed that and that was why he ran. That would be improper speculation according to the defense. But the prosecution is saying he put it on the front of his truck for everyone to see, so this jury should know about it, and that's still outstanding for this judge to rule on.
Oh, I can't wait to hear how he rules on that. That's a big one. That one, I would say, is probably getting the most talk of all those motions. Speaking of talking, Chanley, we got word here at headquarters that some observers there today where you are at the courthouse were admonished. What happened?
So right after Marcus Arbery entered the courthouse with all that fanfare I just told you about, he entered the courtroom as usual with other members of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and they've been handing out these buttons outside the courthouse, and it depicts Representative John Lewis. It says "Make Good Trouble," and it's a logo of the Rainbow Push Coalition and other social justice groups, and it says "Vote" on it. And they were wearing these pins inside the courtroom. This was noticed by Kevin Goff, and actually they were questioning juror number 218 during the time they had her step outside of the room, Julie. He made an objection to the judge that this was improper for observers in the gallery to wear any insignia of political stances or in support of the alleged victim in this case. So the judge did admonish the gallery, say they could not wear such items in the courtroom, and that moving forward to not wear these buttons. But I thought that was interesting to happen this morning.
Right. And tell us again, what does the button say exactly again, please, Chanley?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, we have a picture of this that we'll put up
it's hard
probably
for us
later
to
in
see.
the show,
I
but it's
know.
Representative
Thank
John.
you.
Yeah. Representative John Lewis is on there, and it has a motto, "Make Good Trouble," which you know he is famous for saying, and it has different social justice groups at the bottom of it, like the Rainbow Push Coalition, and just encouraging people to vote. And it has the logo of the Transformative Justice Coalition, the group that has been here bringing in supporters from all over the nation to support Arbery's family. And so they're all frequently wearing these buttons outside the courthouse, but when they did so inside today for the first time, the defense certainly objected, afraid that these individual jurors coming into the room could observe that maybe influence them in one way or the other.
Right. Oh, definitely. Thank you for bringing that to us to our attention, because that is important. When we know, you know this, Chanley, the courtroom is a place for truth to come out, and the trial, it's not a place for referendum. That's a separate, branch of government entirely. So yeah, good for his honor to recognize that and make sure the process is fair. Tell us, in terms of whittling down the numbers, it's hard to keep track, as the court keeps using the term qualified. They want to get this big group that is kind of passing through the questioning before the attorneys use their strikes and get rid of people for whatever reason. How is that looking in terms of the numbers?
We are inching closer and closer to the magic number here of 64 qualified jurors, Julie. So after the last couple of days, we have 15 so far who are qualified. Now, we need obviously a lot more, but here's how it breaks down. This is why 64 is the magic number in this case, because of the number of peremptory strikes each of the defense team's attorneys will receive, as well as the prosecution. So we know that the goal here, jury of 12 with 4 alternates. That means that the defense here has been granted more strikes than usual. Each defense will receive 8 strikes, a total of 24. The prosecution receives 12. Then we have a strike for, I think it's 3 strikes per alternate in this panel. So if you add all of those numbers up, we have to have 64 qualified jurors who haven't been struck for cause and claim to be able to be fair and impartial. Then once we have all the strikes, if all the attorneys decide to use the allotted strikes, Julie, they would have enough, 16 at the end of the day, that would be able to sit and hear this jury. So that's why this has been such a tedious process. And again, we're about up to 15 so far. And we won't really know till the end of the day now, because the judge did change that yesterday. They were immediately striking jurors after individual questioning, but they're saving that for the end of the day to decide who they want to dismiss for cause.
Gotcha. A lot they're working through these last couple days. We'll get there eventually, right? Chanley Painter, thank you so much for that update. We'll check in with you in just a little while. We're going to bring in our guest on the program today. Now, criminal defense attorney Jeffrey Wolf is joining us. Jeffrey, good afternoon to you. Thanks for coming on the program. Let me just ask you, please, generally, when you look at this case, you look at the facts as we know them, the indictment, what we've been reporting on here on Court TV, and you've been on the program before. Tell me, what are the difficulties you see that both the state and the defense are facing, please?
Well, with jury selection, the difficulties that they're facing, the state is obviously dealing with a biased jury pool, right? This is the Deep South. This is America. Even though it's 2021, we know kind of the makeup of the town as well as the racial divides that exist still in the South in our country. And so the prosecution is looking for people that are going to be open and fair. They're looking for people that are going to give the victim, in this case, a black man, the same rights that they would give the white defendants. And so that's going to be a difficulty for the prosecution and probably their largest hurdle, as well as, this concept of a citizen's arrest. Last time I was on, we talked about it. And the citizen's arrest, what nobody wants to say is where that comes from. And that comes from the slave trade and citizens being able to stop runaway slaves. And so you got to get people who are going to see citizen's arrest for what it is, and that it was being used in the exact fashion that it was intended back when it was put into fruition in states like Georgia. And then on the defense side, what you're looking for is people who have not seen all of the prejudicial news coverage that is going to come in, and either not seen it or not put enough weight into it to still be able to hear the evidence and hear them out in this case. And my guess is they're looking for people a little bit more on the side that the prosecution doesn't want, which is people who are going to afford their white defendants more of a fair shake. But in reality, what they should be looking for is people who are going to hear the evidence and hear their defense and decide it on the law. And we've heard some comments from some of these lawyers that make it seem like that's not exactly what they're looking for. But those are the big hurdles, I would say, for both sides.
I appreciate that. Jeffrey, tell me, when you think about these three defendants being joined together, going to trial together, do you think this is beneficial for them in any way? Or do you think they would all be better off going to trial individually if the court were to permit that?
Well, I would say that Gregory benefits from going to trial with Travis, Gregory being the father, because he's not the one who did the actual shooting. And so I think he benefits actually from a little bit of the stain that's on his son for being the actual shooter caught on video. William Roddy Bryan has got to just be beside himself to be in trial with either of the McMichaels, because obviously his involvement was different, right? The state is saying that he might as well have been a co-conspirator. But for him to basically be there and get stained by the McMichaels' affirmative conduct before he even came on the scene has just got to be killing him. He can't enjoy that, neither can his lawyer.
Sure. How about the fact that it was Roddy Bryan, we know, who filmed this incident with his cell phone, and we know it was these defendants who thought that by leaking that video they would be vindicated. They actually want this video coming in, where we know that America looked at the video and there was outrage, and we know there was outrage from those in Georgia and the Bureau of Investigations that got the ball rolling. We know this changed hands several different times with different district attorneys. Finally, through the AG's office being involved, we've got the special prosecutors from Cobb County, not part of Glynn County. What do you think about that? The fact that this defense team, and by team I mean all of these lawyers, they're really united in their defense. From what we know in the interviews they've done with us, it seems like they're going with the united front into this trial. They want that video shown. They want the jury to see it. They think that it will help their clients.
Well, there's a reason for that, and the reason is because they think in Glynn County, the jury pool that they're going to get is going to watch that video, and they're going to see Ahmaud Arbery in the same light that their clients saw him that day, which is a black man and a threat. Period. Full stop. That is what they're hoping to get here. The good news for Ahmaud Arbery's family and Ahmaud Arbery's memory is that the rest of America doesn't quite see a black man like that in 2021, thankfully. And that was the public outcry. That is why there is a prosecutor charged with basically suppressing evidence in this case to help out her former employee, the dad. And that is why there is a special prosecutor from the Atlanta area where things are a little bit more in the 21st century than they are in Glenn County. And so that is why they think the video plays for them, because they see that video a different way. Not necessarily the attorneys, the defendants. The attorneys are doing their job and they're advocating for their clients. But that is what they're hoping, is that the jury will see it in the same way their clients saw it. But the rest of America, myself included, that's not what we see on that video. That video makes me sick.
Right, right. We'll see what the members of the jury think about when they see this video played in the courtroom. Without a doubt, they've seen it played already. I would be stunned if somebody gets up there and says they haven't seen it. Big red flag if they say that. They seem like a stealth juror to me. Jeffrey Wolf, we're so glad you're on the program. You're joining us from Denver today. We're going to talk with you more throughout the program. Coming up next, we have a very special interview. I'm going to be speaking with the sister of missing mother of three, Maya, or May is what she goes by, Miliete. We know that her husband, Larry Miliete, was just charged with May's murder, but May is still missing. And I'm going to be talking live with her sister, Mary Chris, next here on Court TV Live.